This is totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Today on the show, our topics include geography, expressions, sex, and a brand new topic, music.
Yes, plus news from around the world, and we'll open up the mailbag.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Throw away your totally useless GPS. It's time for geography. So get lost with Nick and Roy.
Yes, the sentiment of many people who email us at nickandroy.com. Get lost.
We've been told that throughout high school.
Yes. And 40 years later, that message is still, did you just slurp? Did you just slurp on
No,
the
wait
air?
a second. I'm having a cup of coffee. It's so delicious.
Oh.
I believe that we were not told to get lost. We were lost and still are.
So they told us to get lost. We just listened to what we were told. That's all. How about South America? It is a continent of many natural superlatives. The longest mountain range, the Andes. The highest waterfalls, the Angel Falls. And the driest place on earth, the Atacama Desert in Chile. Good old South America.
Speaking of anacondas. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not on sex yet?
No.
Okay. The Earth, as we have said, is not round. It bulges in the middle. So even though Mount Everest is taller than Mount Chitsuborazu in Ecuador, the Mount Chitsuborazu in Ecuador is closer to the moon than Everest. See, it's not taller, but kind of think of it like we had said before, my belly. Mm-hmm. My belly would bump into things. So Mount Chimborazo is actually taller than Everest because of the bulge of the Earth.
So here's a real quick one. This is so quick, you have to really pay attention. So turn up the volume on your device. I'll wait for a moment. Turn up the volume a little bit more. When in Rome is my topic here in geography. Other than Antarctica, every other continent in the world has a city named Rome. Every continent.
Other than Antarctica.
That's right.
So don't roam to Antarctica. You'll get lost.
So if you're roaming in Antarctica, you'll be lost because you'll never find Rome there when in Rome.
Well, if you're roaming in Antarctica, I hate those roaming charges. Okay, Iceland. Iceland is growing at 5 centimeters per year. Okay? It is divided by North America and the European tectonic plates. So the plates shift 5 centimeters every year. Iceland is literally separating 5 centimeters because it sits between the North American and the European tectonic plates, right in between.
Are we there yet? The second longest geographical name that is accepted in the world is Taumatawhakata, on and on it goes. 85 letters. Okay?
Wow.
The longest geographical name has 85 letters, which is a hill in New Zealand. It is a Maori phrase which translates to, quote, place where Tamatea, the man with big knees who slid, climbed, and swallowed mountains, knew his landia to play with his flute to his loved one.
Yeah. You got to watch when you're playing with your flute, especially when you're on the old slippy slide on your knees playing with your flute.
Yeah.
The San Andreas Fault is consuming 2 inches of land every year. At this rate, Los Angeles will be neighbors with San Francisco in a few million years. We asked about the San Andreas Fault, and Joe Biden said, no, it's Trump's fault.
The political views on this program are not necessarily those of everyone else on the show.
Oh, they gave it to Trump for 4 years.
Yeah.
Biden's getting it for 4 years.
Four more
hopefully
years.
4 years.
4 more years. Hot and cold. The White Sea in Russia has the lowest temperature, which is minus 2 degrees centigrade. The Persian Gulf is the warmest sea. In the summer, its temperature reaches 35.6 degrees centigrade, which is roughly in the mid 90s Fahrenheit, in case those of you who can't figure out the calculation because you went to a New York City public school. 35.5 degrees centigrade, which is about the mid 90s.
When people listen to the show, they should have a pen and paper because we go pretty quick and we dole out like close to 8 facts per category.
Right.
And so it's hard to keep up with us. But if you have a pen and paper, you can. Ready? This is one that you're going to want to write down. Sudan has more ancient pyramids than Egypt. Egypt has 138 pyramids. Well, that's a lot of pyramids, right? No. Sudan touts over 255, and that's known pyramids, while Madonna in the 1980s sported 2 pyramids that most women call breasts. Remember the video?
Yeah, from the mid 80s. For those of
With
you,
the pointy bra that she had.
Those things were weapons. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Where do expressions come from? We want to know right now.
Well, first off, folks, thanks a lot for everybody making our website almost crash this week. We had so many people going on it and leaving us messages and so on. Thank you so much. www.nickandroy.com. Real easy to remember. So let's do an expression. Let your hair down.
What?
The French nobility risked condemnation from their peers if they appeared in public without their hair done up in those amazing, what they even call like French braids and so on. And they were like French braided updos. They took hours and hours and hours to do. So when the ladies got home, they took their hair down and they were so comfortable, but they had to hide indoors and not be seen. But that was called letting your hair down, and it stuck.
Yeah. Being follically challenged, I don't let my hair down. My hair let me down. So what is dog fooding? Dog fooding allows employees to test their company's products in real life. It gives management a sense of how the product might be used all before launch to consumers. In 1980, Apple Computer president Michael Scott wrote a memo announcing, effective immediately, no more typewriters are to be purchased or used. We believe the typewriter is obsolete. Let's prove it on the inside before we try and convince our customers on the outside. Dog fooding.
Wow. I thought it was just something that my wife cooked for dinner.
Oh, no. You're going to get yourself thrown out on your butt.
She's so used to it. Well, she can put me in the dog house now.
Serving the dog food, yes.
She'll say, close but no cigar. Close but no cigar. What a great expression. Carnivals would give cigars as prizes for winning. But if you lost, you didn't get a cigar. So it was close, but no cigar for you. So close, but no cigar.
Of course.
Write that one down.
Write it down. Okay, we hope you can write really fast. You know that feeling, the sudden tightening of your calf or thigh where they just won't stop, that pain. So what does a muscle cramp have to do with a horse named Charlie? The Charlie horse is the expression. It began as a baseball slang around the late 1800s. There was a pitcher whose name was Charlie Old Hoss Radburn, who suffered from the tightening of the calf. It may also be from somebody's long-forgotten lame racehorse that hobbled as a result of pulling heavy loads, as witnessed by baseball player Joe Quest. According to Quest, the ball players troubled with the ailment hobbled exactly as did the old horse. And so Quest dubbed it a Charlie horse.
Charlie the horse. Oh, my God. See, folks, that's a cool one. 3 sheets to the wind.
3 what? Oh, 3 sheets to the wind. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, you misunderstood me. Yeah. 3 sheets to the wind. What Nick is most of the time.
Oh.
It means that you're very drunk. Or Nick. Sailors would get drunk and forget to tie the ropes to the sails. The sails were also called sheets because, of course, they're white cotton. You know, they look like sheets. So they would forget to tie the ropes. But if you got really, really drunk, you'd forget to tie all the masts, and there were usually 3 masts on a ship, so you were 3 sheets to the wind, because the wind just took the sheets and the boat didn't move, and they didn't care because they were so hammered.
Yeah, no sheet. When you give 100 and no sheet, Sherlock. When you give 110%, very much not like our show. The phrase was first recorded in the Elizabethan England at the end of the 16th century. It is believed to have originated when a royal aide was pooping in the bathroom. The aide is reported to have said 110% of the population has been infected by the disease I'm suffering with. A humorous statistical impossibility. Rather than correct the 10% figure, calculated by counting the amount of bodies on the streets, this gaffe was seized upon by humorists of the time, such as William Shakespeare, who mimicked the bumbling aide in several plays, just because his royal aide was pooping in the bathroom and came up with this 110% idea.
No sheet.
No, they were quite regular.
White elephant. The white elephant. Meaning valuable but not worth the cost of upkeep. It's kind of like a Ferrari or a Tesla. The saying comes from albino Asian elephants, which are very rare and much more expensive and revered than regular elephants. But the upkeep wasn't worth the value. So having a white elephant and just taking care of it was like, why are they doing that? It's not worth it. So that's where the saying comes from.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. Totally useless information with Nick and Roy continues. Listen, laugh, and learn.
A puppet show in the 17th century called Punch and Judy featured a puppet named Punch, who killed people and took great joy in doing so. Okay? He would feel pleased with himself afterwards. The saying came about, pleased as Punch was born. So this puppet loved to kill people and took great joy, and so they decided to create an expression, pleased as Punch.
That socks. Sock puppet.
There you go. Put a sock in it. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy, and thanks to our listeners, you have come up with some great ideas over the past 60-plus episodes, so thank you very much for listening all the way around the world. And this next topic is brand new, thanks to a listener who emailed us and wanted us to talk about useless music information. So, what did we do? Well, we wrote a jingle.
From Beethoven to Bieber, rock and roll to rhythm and blues. This is Totally Useless Music Information with Nick and Roy.
Isn't that lovely? I was tinkling the ivories there as I was creating that intro.
I hope that's all you were tickling.
So now you play guitar, Roy. You're one of the many talents that you have. You play guitar. You play other instruments. So guitar string, the so-called gut strings for acoustic Spanish guitars, were originally made from small intestines of slaughtered sheep. During World War II, the production material was changed to nylon not because it was disgusting, but because all available gut was used in the production of surgical thread for wounded soldiers. Ew.
Ooh.
Or you.
Well, at least they had the guts to do it. Okay. The song You're So Vain by Carly Simon. Everyone has heard that song. In fact, it's used for so many commercials throughout the years as well. But do you know who's singing in the background of the song? When I say it, you're never going to not hear it again because it's so clear, yet you don't think about it because it's a background singer. But in the background, at the part where they say, "You're so vain," you're going to hear Mick Jagger's voice.
Wow.
Because he helped write the song with her in a bar on a napkin and went to the studio and actually did it with her. And in the background, now that I said it, you're going to hear, "You're so vain." You're going to hear Mick Jagger so clearly, you're never going to not hear it again. Write it down.
Wow, that's amazing. So see, this is the kind of stuff, that's why we say listen, laugh, and learn. That was the learning part of those three things that we tell you. That's pretty cool. I love that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good one.
Have you heard of Paul Ramon or Bernard Webb or A. Smith or Apollo C. Vermouth or Country Hams or Percy Thrills Thrillington or the Fireman? Have you heard of any of those?
Yeah, sure.
No, you haven't. Unless, of course, you know this fact. These are the pseudonyms that were used by Paul McCartney in his career.
Wow, good one, good one. Say the names quickly again.
Paul Ramon, Bernard Webb, A. Smith, Apollo C. Vermouth, Country Hams, Percy Thrills Thrillington, or the Fireman.
Wow,
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Garth Brooks is one of the last big name stars to do what? He won't put his music on iTunes. That's okay, Apple. Yep. So that's okay. Apple now had Garth Brooks canceled forever from the earth. Because they're allowed to do that.
They have that power.
I mean, it's a big deal because Garth Brooks is big, but he doesn't want his music exploited on iTunes. So he's one of the few last. There were a few left, but he's like the last one.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. We're in our brand new topic, which is music. Macho Man, the great Village People hit song. Now you're thinking, well, Village People, well, where do they come from? Well, the original Village People lineup was recruited via an advertisement that read, Macho Types Wanted, must have mustache. And from that ad, they assembled what we know as the Village People. Macho Types Wanted, must have mustache, which excludes you and I, of course.
Didn't the ad run in the Village Voice newspaper in New York?
It might have. I think so. And that's this whole thing. That's why they call it the Village People. That's why you'll learn here on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. You see, folks, we're all over the place here. We could be classy.
That's why the intro said from Beethoven to Bieber, rock and roll to rhythm and blues. We cover it all.
Yes. Well, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart composed over 600 pieces of music during his lifetime. That's a lot of music, 600. He wrote his first symphony, get ready, folks, at age 8. He was 8 years old. And his first full opera at age 11. He retired at 15 saying, boy, I'm tired. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Can you imagine writing a symphony at 8 years old and a full opera at 11? I mean, that's pretty amazing. When I read it, I saw 600 pieces of music, and I said, wow, that's a lot of music. But look, when you start when you're like 3 years old, hell, you could do it.
Do the math. This is what I call a hot seat. Johnny Cash's estate was approached by an advertising company asking for permission to use his great hit song, Ring of Fire. Okay? The product? Hemorrhoid cream. Okay. So the hemorrhoid cream company asked for permission to use Ring of Fire. And those of you who really want to know what happened, the request was refused. Sorry.
Oh, wow. The Sphincter of Fire.
There you go.
The melody to Happy Birthday to You.
Yes.
The song that every damn person in the world knows is a copy. It was copied from a known song at the time called Good Morning to You All. And it was composed, they know who even wrote it. It was composed by Patti Smith Hill and Mildred Jane Hill in 1893. It was a song called Good Morning to You All. But somebody said, it's somebody's birthday and I don't feel like really doing much for them. So let's just steal a song and put some extra little words to it. Oh my God. That song's iconic and it was never really written as the song.
So technically, every time you sing a happy birthday, you owe them royalties.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. There are several ways that you can get in touch with us. You can go to our website, nickandroy.com, click on Contact Us to email us. That's nickandroy.com. Contact us. You can also check out our birthdays and our birthday messages, nickandroy.com/birthdays. You can also leave a voicemail message on the website. And you can also text us at 71010. Send us your comments or any requests for useless information. That's 71010. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Wow, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All about sex.
And for all you legal types, lay off our backs.
The following segment of the Totally Useless Information podcast may be too sultry and too sexy for some listeners.
And if you're listening to the show on your back, welcome to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Fear not the wood. The fear of having, seeing, or thinking about an erection is called
Wait a second.
What?
Let me stop you.
Yes?
Is it called ithiopalophobia?
Yeah, ithyphalophobia. It is. How do you know?
Dun, 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 dun. Me and Nick got the same exact fact because we don't. We got to tell everybody.
Yep.
We don't discuss what we do on the show. Most people think we script this. We don't.
No.
And I mean, it's pretty evident.
Yeah.
No, but
Quite evident.
we do all this research, and sometimes we stumble on the same fact.
Wow.
Okay, because great minds think alike.
Yeah, which is why it doesn't happen that often, which means I don't know how great our minds are. So it's called, for those of you who really want to know, it's ithyphalophobia, the fear of having, seeing, or thinking about an erection. Those of you out there who are having issues, we're really sorry, but we really don't care.
Well, I don't call it ithiopalophobia. I call it marriage.
Wow.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. To access the full library of episodes, visit nickandroy.com. That's nickandroy.com. We're back with totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
The smell or aroma of wine can sexually arouse both men and women. The chemical substance in wine has a similar effect to human pheromones. This study was done by 50 drunks. How do you know the smell of wine? After about like 4 or 5 glasses, you're like, wow, was it the smell of wine that got me? So, oh, you're drunk. You don't know what the hell you're doing. Who took this survey?
I love the smell of Pinot Grigio in the morning.
Yeah, could you imagine you take a girl out and you're like, hey, look, we're not going to actually drink this $100 wine, but I'd love for you to smell it.
Here, smell my cork. Food for thought.
Oh, that is dirty, Nick.
No, it's not. No, listen, you're in the restaurant business, right? You know, when you open the cork, right? You make sure you give it to the person who's who asked for the wine, and they smell the cork. So go ahead, smell my cork.
Smell my cork. Stick the old cork in.
Okay, some people experience the same feeling of arousal when thinking about food as to when having sex. Our bodies work in a lot of the same ways when we eat food and have sex. We use a variety of senses when consuming food: taste, sight, touch, and smell. Although the smell part, I'm not too sure. Anyway, does anybody else get grossed out by foods with an alarming texture? Like, we use these same sensations during sex, which includes smell, and I'm sure we've all had our own unique experiences with that one. According to her blog, Jennifer Iannolo of Food Philosophy says that food and sex appeal to our deepest pleasure points, arousing, sustaining, and nourishing the most important parts of ourselves. They both provide pleasure or pain. Think about food.
That's why I eat a good steak and potato dinner in the missionary position.
On our website, nickandroy.com, you have opportunities to send your loved one a birthday message, and now brand new anniversary messages.
People are flipping out. And by the way, it's the people that forced us into doing the anniversary message. We had so many requests for anniversary messages. Could you do an anniversary message? Could you do it just like the birthday? Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, go to nickandroy.com, click on birthday message. you are going to see it's a mini show that we do with all totally useless information for your loved ones, and they are going to flip out. They are going to, I'm telling you, they send it to everybody. We get comments from people, friends of theirs, that, oh my God, how do I get one of these? How do I do, So nickandroy.com, go on birthday messages. It is the greatest gift of all time, and it's inexpensive.
Exactly. Website is nickandroy.com. Here are some sex facts from down under. Australia. Apparently, Australian women fake more than just their hair color. 62% have faked an orgasm. 62%. Also,
62% fake.
62%. Just 43% of Australian women want sex 3 to 6 times a week.
You know what, Nick? Finish the show yourself. I'm taking a flight.
That's what I call.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm booking a ticket right now.
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Where are you going? I'm going down under. Oh, really? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Have a good
I'm
time.
going to pull a Sydney.
And have her smell your cork?
I'm going to the old Outback. I'm going to have a steak and potato dinner.
While you're in the act and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I need some lube. I've run out of lube. Well, there's help on the way. You can use coconut oil for lube, in case you're wondering. Okay?
Yeah.
And in case you're a health buff, and you're in the buff, I guess, chances are you already know that coconut oil can be used for just about anything. Another thing to add to the list of many functions, it is a great do-it-yourself lubricant. It's all natural, long-lasting, and antifungal.
Yeah. And if you put it all over the floor and your partner goes on the other end of the room, you can slide right in like safe at home base.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
We are on Newstalk 1010 in Toronto, CKLW in Windsor, CKTB in St. Catharines. We're also at CFAX in Victoria. We want to thank you and all of the other countries around the world who've tuned in week after week. We really appreciate your support.
We're insane.
Yeah, we are. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. And if you'd like to send us an email, it's pretty simple. We made it simple for you. www.nickandroy.com.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
Marion from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, one of my fellow Canadians, wrote in. She writes, Dear Nick and Roy, we loved your end-of-year blooper show. Wait a minute. It was also called the best of.
Yeah, right.
She says, I heard the expression pulling one's leg a lot. Where does that expression come from, pulling one's leg? Well, let me tell you the truth.
From the Kinsley Institute.
Pull my leg. Pulling my leg or your leg originates from public executions, from hangings in England, many of which took place in Tyburn, London. Death from hanging could take up to an excruciating 30 minutes, and if one was lucky, family members or friends would pull on your leg to speed up the execution.
Why do you need enemies, right?
That's right. So to help the process along, they pulled on your leg, and to speed up the
Honey,
process.
when they drop the floor, let the kids hang on my legs, okay? Would you please help me out?
So that's all I have on that. But the theory is the reason why it becomes a joke is when you're pulling someone's leg, you're pulling one, making a joke against somebody. So I guess the theory is that, just kidding, we'll let you die on your own for 30 minutes.
Oh my God! Well, Marion, sounds to me you enjoyed our show. You need more steak and potatoes in your life.
That's right. So you can reach us once again. Go to our website, nickandroy.com.
And now for something completely useless.
All right, here's something completely useless. Well, the rest of the show was as well, but no number from the number 1 to the number 999. Not one of those numbers written out contains the letter A. The letter A is absent in the written number 1 through 999. It's not until you get to 1,000 that the A is used.
8,000. Wow, that's pretty cool. And I was really never good in math, so thank you for that. Thank you for joining us. There are many ways that you can get in touch with us at nickandroy.com is one way, and you can also send us a text at 71010. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Today we did geography. We introduced a brand new topic in music. We talked about sex. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
No Pants Subway Ride. The organizers of the No Pants Subway Ride, an annual January event held on public transport in more than a dozen cities worldwide, announced that the 2021 No Pants Subway Ride has been canceled. Improv Everywhere, the performance art group that has organized the No Pants Subway Ride since 2002 in New York City, said this year's Sans Pants public transit trek has been canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to COVID-19, they write, we are canceling the annual No Pants Subway Ride this year. We look forward to hosting more large-scale events once it is safe to do so.
What'd they think, Nick? That the mask was too much clothing?
Yeah, no pants, but
All they had to do was put one mask on their face and then one mask on one leg, the strap on one leg, the strap on the other, and wear two masks. So, wasn't 2020 a wonderful year? I did the no pants.
That's right. You know what? You're absolutely right. Even though it happened in the previous cities like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Boston, and others, you're absolutely right. Everyone experienced no pants Zoom meetings.
Yeah, and they do it in the wintertime, which I still have hemorrhoids from. Those bus seats are cold.
Well, thank goodness you didn't have Ring of Fire hemorrhoid cream.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's better to sit though, because when you're standing in front of women hanging onto a pole and they're hanging onto a pole, there's a problem.
Nick and Roy will continue with totally useless information. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Animal, crazy animal.
The chevrotine is a very small, cute little animal that looks like a baby deer. Like a baby deer. Except for one thing. When it opens its mouth, it has these large fangs.
Whoa.
So it's this cutesy little baby deer looking thing, but it has fangs. Like a vampire bat.
Dogs and their noses. Sniffing for your dog is like us having to go for a walk with our eyes closed. Dogs have somewhere between 200 million and 1 billion scent receptors compared to our petty 6 million.
Wow.
So imagine that. So we only have 6 million. Dogs have from 200 million to 1 billion scent receptors. If those adorable wet noses provide our dogs with exceptional insight and information while helping them to trap scent particles and assist them in interpreting their world even 40 feet below, that's how sensitive these sensors are. So that's why your dog's noses are always wet and they're always sniffing around.
So his nose is nose. What do baby elephants have in common with human babies? And I thought this one was cool. Babies love to suck their thumbs. Well, baby elephants suck their trunks.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Hermit crabs have soft, exposed abdomens. This leaves them quite vulnerable to predators, so to protect themselves, hermit crabs search for abandoned shells, usually sea snail shells. When they find the one that fits, they tuck themselves inside it to protect themselves and carry it with them wherever they go. So these crab shells are portable.
Do you think maybe that they have to pay like overnight fees at like little snail shell RV parks? Crab RV parks?
You know what it is? It's snail shell B&B.
Thousands of years ago, there were crocodiles, huge crocodiles. that could gallop as fast as horses. Now, I live in Florida and we have alligators, and alligators are like the little sister of crocodiles. Crocodiles are even more nasty. But could you imagine one running as fast as a horse? There's like no getting away from that. You know? They wear like shirts that have people on them. They go, "Oh, honey," they say to their crocodile partner, "Oh, honey, I'm going to go get you a human skin bag."
Do they have like crocodile races like horse races? And they're off.
The race is over and you lose.
You lose. Goldfish have interesting eyesight. Now, in one of the episodes, we talked about how the attention span of a goldfish is 3 seconds. In goldfish, the eyesight is highly developed sense. By the way, the attention span of a goldfish is 3 seconds.
What did
the
you say?
eyesight, what?
Did you say something?
Yeah, the attention span. Oh yeah, of a goldfish is 3 seconds. Okay, in goldfish, the eyesight is highly developed sense. It's thought to be superior to humans. In fact, goldfish are the only members of the animal kingdom that can see both infrared and ultraviolet light. So the next time you see goldfish with sunglasses, you'll understand.
Where do expressions come from? We want to know right now.
Tightening your belt. You need to tighten your belt. It means to sacrifice and lower your standard of living because you have less money than you did before. This saying comes from the Depression era when there was little money for anything, including food. So people had to tighten their belts in order to keep their pants from falling. If you have less money, you'll buy less food, eat less, lose weight, and have to
Tighten
tighten
your belt.
There you go.
Wow, that is a good one. See, now, you know, folks that are listening now, somebody's going to take that and say, "Hey, did you know?" And that's when you need to send us an email. Hold your horses, Nick.
Okay, I will. I'm holding on to them right now. Okay.
Hold your horses means to slow down and to rethink what you're doing. But when somebody had actually asked about this, when I looked it up, it is actually a saying that was coined by Homer, the famous Greek writer of the Iliad and the Odyssey. But it was in Homer's Iliad where he tells the person to hold their horses, meaning slow down. And of course, like a lot of things from the Iliad, it gets coined and people begin to use it. So a cool fact.
How about we clear the air? Clear the air. To clear the air means to clear any misunderstandings between two or more people. The phrase literally refers to the sun and winds clearing the air of dust and clouds after a storm. So in the figurative sense, it has been in use since 1380 to clear the air.
How about this one now? Now, some expressions are common sense type expressions, but when you really think about them, my grandmother used to say to me, "Stop running around like a chicken with your head cut off." Running around like a chicken, or running around like a chicken with its head cut off, is because they actually do. When they were decapitated in the butcher shop, they'd put them on the butcher block, whack their heads off, and then drop the chicken down, and it would run around into walls and everything because it didn't have a head to see where the hell it was going. But of course, it ran around aimlessly for, I guess, a minute or two before it croaked.
All right. So, okay. I guess that is true to the expression. So it's not like a variation of chickens literally were running around with their heads cut off. Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
The headless chicken. Like the headless horseman, but the headless chicken.
Headless chicken. So as long as you're on the straight and narrow. No, it's not what people think. It's not straightening and narrow. You misheard it. It's on the straight and narrow. The phrase comes from the Bible. The phrase comes from the Bible and describes the path to heaven. Matthew 7:14 to be exact. Broad is the way that is the path of destruction, but narrow is the gate, and straight is the way which leadeth to the house of God. On the straight
Well,
and
that's a really nice saying, though, if you think about it.
yeah, on the straight and narrow.
Broad is the pretty much easy path.
The path of destruction.
Yeah, the path of destruction is broad, but the path to heaven is narrow. That's nice. It
It's
makes it a little tough to get there, but it's nice, you know.
Take an Uber. You know what? So instead of Stairway to Heaven, it's an Uber to Heaven.
Yeah, I mean, when
Right.
when the Uber driver does something wrong, you don't get a ticket in the back seat. He gets the ticket. So let him go to hell. Who cares about the Uber? Okay, I got one. Monkey business. You've heard the expression, hey, you guys are involved in monkey business, meaning you're doing something crazy and nutty and out of the ordinary. Well, the expression, again, it's one of those expressions. If you ever go to a zoo and see a whole pack of monkeys, you'll realize that they're doing crazy crap, swinging into each other, going nuts, and basically aimlessly doing nonsensical things. So the expression is monkey business.
I like that, especially if they're flinging all kinds of stuff.
Thank you for joining us. We will scour the internet and gather more useless information for you next time.
Yes, you do yourself a favor and visit our website, www.nickandroy.com. Plus, leave us a message so that you can get onto the show. So also, tell a friend about the trend.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes or wherever you get your podcasts.